The prophecy by Wernher von Braun, who came from Germany, as we know, and then was brought over by Operation Paperclip to the United States, and that was the beginning of NASA. And what Wernher von Braun said about extraterrestrial aliens and Mars and Elon Musk, and even brought in the country of Greece, written by Christos Manzaris. Elon Musk is the man who is dancing the planet at the moment, the man who became a direct associate of Donald Trump, the new president, the man who is the richest man on the planet, but also has overtaken NASA with his achievements in space, the man who has the potential equivalent of revolutions based on the history of man so far, with his ideas, he's a genius, the man who transforms ideas and establishes perceptions of decades, the man who, with his statements, influences states and situations. Elon Musk, the man who has taken a position with his statements on issues even concerning Greece. He shows interest in Greece, and this is no accident. He has stated that the biggest problem of Greece is the low birth rate, something that the speakers who seized all forms of power in Greece think that this will change. Now, where does Musk's enthusiastic certainty come from? That this situation will definitely be reversed, no one knows, but no one bothers to ask Elon Musk to explain to us where this certainty comes from. No obscurantist frontline media showed the slightest interest, because for such a certain reversal of the situation of the low birth rate in Greece, shocking changes must occur, the main one being the untying of the anti-Hellenic political situation, known as transition from Greece, and this will happen with social upheaval. Musk also publicly expressed himself against supporting genuine Greek positions in favor of the liberation of Istanbul, the old Constantinople, as is moral and just, he says. At the same time, he wants to establish its normal name internationally, that is Constantinople. Well, Istanbul comes from the Greek meaning Istinboli, meaning to the city, referring to Constantinople. Although Istanbul is Greek and it means in the city, but the correct name of the capital is Constantinople. It's not by chance that his Phil-Hellene positions were mentioned here, and among all his activities, he also talks about the journey to conquer the planet Mars. Musk himself walks around and is photographed wearing t-shirts with his dream printed on them, the conquest of Mars, and even his prominent friend Donald Trump has stated that he will attempt a trip to Mars, of course motivated by Elon Musk. And his t-shirt, Musk displays another symbol, the all-seeing eye, but in front of that is the Greek letter omega, the symbol of perfection and the end of the situation. It means finality, the end, the eye, and here begins the perfect era. And yet Elon Musk, the trip to Mars and the meetings of Earthlings with Martians, the inhabitants of Mars, were prophesied by Wernher von Braun. The International Space Station ISS was also prophesied by him, which is now a reality. But before we look at the prophecies of Wernher von Braun, let's see what was happening then in the 1930s and the 1940s in America. This is because it has a tremendous relevance to the current Trump era. At that time, the so-called technocracy movement was created in the USA. The so-called technocracy movement was created in the USA. The movement was created by Howard Scott with the aim of making America, USA, great and the leader of the world. And that is what Trump wants, making America great again. Scott and his movement had dreamed of an America with extended to Canada and Greenland, Mexico and Panama, and a small portion of Northern and South America. Also, the movement's pursuit was to bind all the wealth in favor of the rulers, with technocracy, of course, mainly with disasters. Therefore, by combining the above and what we are experiencing now, Trump's plans and why he is surrounded by very wealthy technocrats becoming somewhat obvious. In essence, Trump is continuing the work of some. Let's now look at the prophecies of Wernher von Braun after it has been said who he was. He was a German, a Nazi, and he is considered the father of missiles. He built the missiles so that the Germans could destroy London after World War II. He went to the USA. The Americans took him to work for them, so he was not tried. It's understandable that because of his knowledge, the Democrats were not bothered by the fact that they took a Nazi into their work. Of course, he wasn't the only one. There was many scientists from Germany that came to the United States. He's considered one of the founders of NASA. So in 1950, Braun published a book with his prophecies, quote unquote. The book was entitled Project Mars. And according to him, before attempting the journey to Mars, a small moon, a lunetta, as he calls it in his book, page 11, would be constructed. This construction of humanity would be used for analysis and processing of space data before the mission to Mars. This prophecy came true. The structure that Braun prophesied is the International Space Station, in which the cooperation of Americans and Russians and others always continues without any problem, regardless of their differences and rivalries on Earth. And then, according to Braun, the journey to Mars will take place with a spacecraft that will be called, in the very Greek way, Sirius. And the Greeks, the key holders of space, know this because their ships have Greek names, because without their permission they cannot go beyond the moon into the spaces of the ether, according to Aristotle. Perhaps that's why Musk is a Philhellene. He knows that without Greece he will not even be able to get close to Mars. I'm just reading the article for you here. I don't necessarily agree with what the writer says, but anyway. Earthlings will arrive on Mars, Wernher von Braun said, and will meet their inhabitants, the Martians, who live within the planet. They will welcome the Earthlings benevolently with something that will look like Musk, and he will fill the space with pleasant song. On page 176 of his book, Musk is mentioned. Elon, that is. Elon. In chapter 24, entitled How Mars is Governed, Wernher von Braun wrote that the Martian government consists of 10 men, the leader of whom was elected by universal suffrage for 5 years and was called Elon. 2 houses of parliament approved the laws that Elon and his cabinet would administer. The upper house was called, as they say, the White House, the Council of the Wise Elders, which has 60 members, each of whom is appointed for life by the supreme leader, Elon. Only if someone dies he's replaced. This is a bit reminiscent of the College of Cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church. And as we say, the capital, usually Elon chose as members of the Council of Wise Historians, ecclesiastics, former cabinet members, or successful economic leaders who could offer a lot due to life experience. And the following information, Wernher von Braun's prophecy, is of particular importance because only Greeks in spirit and soul can understand it. Superior to Mars, according to some ancient custom, after Elon, was the senior teacher of philosophy, who is the queen of spiritual sciences, who sits behind Elon, although on Mars there is a general lack of social distinctions. So much for prophecies about Elon and Musk. A brief analysis of the name Elon Musk may now be permissible with the indulgent discretion and without absoluteness. Elon, perhaps, since it is a Martian name according to Wernher von Braun, and therefore misleading according to the Odyssey, is L on, that is on L. Musk means Musk, of course. Of course, we do not mean the animal responsible for climate change due to the resounding emission of gases from its antlers, but the fragrant plant that has a perfect fragrance. And that's why we say, I smell musk, musk soap, musk incense, etc. Or it means the shoot that brings life. And that's why we say graft, organic graft, healthy, for transplantations, heart, kidney, etc. So musk is the fragrant and healthy one that carries life. Wernher von Braun prophesied, and what he prophesied, if it happens, will shock the world. Of course, Braun and every Braun are not prophets. Their knowledge is simply at a much higher level than the level of knowledge of everyday people. Of course, for many and various reasons, they cannot speak because they may get suddenly ill, but if they speak, who will believe them? So they leave some written texts, and when the time comes, they are verified. We're living in historic moments, and let us keep our minds open so that our eyes may also be open to finally see the reality. And this is an article by Christos Manzaris. Very interesting. Wernher von Braun's predictions. And there is an Elon among us. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.